Shanila, very good morning and thanks for your time. I suppose, yes, there was a lot of concern when we heard that the army was going to be a part of this process, because the concern was, yes, your SAPS, your JMPD usually have interaction with civilians, the army not so much in the line of duty. So what are we seeing as a result of that?
Good morning, and good morning to your viewers. I think, Rebecca, what we're seeing is really a situation where which is not unusual to South Africa. I mean, it's not unusual that we've seen the police or, use excessive force against civilians. This is not a new thing. But however, under these circumstances, it seems to be really compounded by the fact that, the army is there as well. And, I feel like, although the president has come out and said and really made it quite clear that this won't be tolerated, but I feel like we're going to see more and more of this unless examples are made, unless people are held to account, unless, people are actually charged for murder, charged for culpable homicide, or whatever it is that the law dictates. And, again, the argument that soldiers are out there, I've heard this consistently over the news channels, that, soldiers are trained for war. That's not actually completely true. I mean, soldiers are part of the UN peacekeeping forces, and yet even there we've seen loads of abuse. And I think it's really about accountability, Becca. I think it's about people not being held to account, people making excuses for the fact that, this was, required. And actually what we feel as Amnesty International is under these conditions, an educational approach would be a lot better than a violent and brutal approach to citizens who themselves are nervous, scared, and don't understand the situation.
Shanila, let's expand on that. And I mean, just give us some idea, when we think army and we think the days of old, here especially in South Africa with our history and our past and the days of apartheid. In 2020, what should be the role of the army? Like you say, educational. We shouldn't be seeing, see people having to do push-ups or frog leaps or whatever it is. I mean, that is demeaning. There's no reason for anybody to be treated that way. Should they just be saying, listen, guys, we're going to follow you home, get into your house, and we're going to make sure that you stay there? Should that be the role of it? On the other hand, yes, you do have people who are bent on breaking the rules as well.
Well, Rebecca, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. We need people, especially with the history that we have come out of, to be treated with dignity and respect. And we expect that of our law enforcement agents. And, of course, we have laws. So, I mean, there's already a law in place that if anybody violates the rules or the lockdown rules, they can be taken to jail, they can be fined. So, I mean, I feel like they have options. And I feel like, making people do frog marches and jumps is an abuse of power. They have the power, they feel that they can use it. And I feel that under this situation, it should never be allowed. I mean, even that should be taken to task. We shouldn't just laugh it off. That is somebody's dignity, that is humiliation, and it's not necessary. And actually, the role they should be playing, Rebecca, is really to say to people, listen, we know it's confusing. We know you may not understand why we're doing what we're doing, but here are some of the reasons, and we are going to make sure you're at home, and please don't come out. And if you come out, we will then arrest you and we will put you through the legal system. And that is what the legal system is there for.
Shanila, the other comments that we're seeing popping up on social media more and more is, why are we seeing more of the army in predominantly black areas, where in the suburbs you have people, the odd person who's taken it upon themselves or given themselves permission to jog around the neighborhood. We have long queues, people not practicing the physical distancing or the social distancing they're supposed to be practicing. People are taking chances there as well, yet you don't see one single army vehicle, or for that matter, not even an SAPS vehicle in those areas.
Becca, it's actually really sad because, once again, we fall back into those old apartheid patterns where we go into the townships. And I understand that there are high risks there, but I really feel that, the whole issue of equality needs to be dealt with, in a much more rational way. And I feel like, we are still sort of treating people who are in informal settlements and townships as if they are dangerous, or as if they require a lot more sort of security forces to make them do what they're supposed to do. And that inequality, once again, is going to cause anger. The fact that, you know, people from the northern suburbs, people from the middle class do stuff and, you know, get away with it sometimes is really what's going to cause anger. And I really feel that the state needs to be very sensitive to the demographics of this country and to the inequality that people are facing in this country, and not treat people differently based on their social standing or how much money they earn or where they live. I feel like this is the one thing that equalizes all of us. And when it comes to adherence to law, every single person should be treated equally under the law.
Well, let's hope that these are just teething problems in early days, Shanila, and we'll see people behaving better on both sides as we continue with this lockdown, which might go even more than 21 days.